live segment. It's been a while, haven't gone live for a little bit, but I've got a lot of watches that I want to update you guys on. The subject that we're going to be talking about here today is what are the plans for 2026? I like to get your guys' feedback. I like to get perspective and hearing what you guys are planning to do with the year to come. We're closing out this year. Most people are already closing out their collection of what they wanted to add to their. It's been a good year. A lot of watches in, few watches out. Rounding off the collection, downsizing on a couple of things for sure. But I want to go live, show you guys some watches that are going to be showcased very shortly in the upcoming months. Probably even in January. I do have that Erebus video that we're going to re-upload. I apologize, the sound was a little choppy on that one, but I fixed that and that's going to be uploaded right after this live. What is on wrist is always the question. I still have the Seville on here and I have it on here for a particular reason. I wanted to showcase the bracelet that I have on here. I just did the full review for the Boulevard. And yeah, I was really impressed with the watch altogether. And I'll tell you what, I wasn't privy to the fact that it had a sweeping motion, even though it's quartz, which is why I do like to dive into the big brands as well, see what they have to offer. Of course, they have the heritage. The Seville watch is a super popular watch that everybody likes. So I fully enjoyed investigating and everything else. People are coming in. Jason, what's going on? Design Atelier, greetings from Aruba. Greetings, brother. Fred is in the building. What's going on, brother? Always appreciate the support. Picture quality is weird. Hopefully the Wi-Fi reconnects and clears that up. I'm on Wi-Fi right now, so hopefully it'll get a little bit better. There you go. On the other wrist, I got the Murph. And we talk about watches that we wanted to add to the collection. That is a watch that I did want to add. The 38 Murph is what I've been talking about. Shout out to Trap Vision 3D. Shout out to Trifecta for making that happen and making it possible for me to get it on wrist before the season closed out altogether. So super happy about that. I'm going to show you guys some close-ups of it. I did get it on bracelet. It is the 38. It doesn't have the Morse code on the second hand, but I felt like lug to lug, this one just felt a little better to get on here. And I have some things that I want to discuss about the bracelet that Hamilton did on it as well. So you just watched Interstellar yesterday? Yeah, man, that movie. So here's the deal. Right? I didn't even realize that there's another watch in Interstellar, which is the Cooper. And so I may or may not be taking a look at that in the future. But for all intents purposes for this year, I'm very content with the collection. And what I'm going to do moving forward, I'm going to save for some more Grail watches. I'm going to save for some watches and some technology that is not so much in reach right away available, right? Price point is a little bit more, got to save up for it. So that's something that I'm looking to do in 2026. I'm going to back off on a lot of watches that I'm going to purchase, right? And I'm just going to enjoy what I have. That's something that we don't often hear people doing content on watches say. And when you have a larger collection like I have around 60 to 65 watches, there's a lot of watches that I haven't even reviewed yet. And that's something that I'm looking forward to doing in 2026. I want to show you guys the brew. There's a few watches and you guys seen them on the live segments, but I want to take some time to look into my own archives and be able to design the review. Listen, I could review the watch however I want to, but when you have an X amount of time and plenty of time to play, it comes out a little bit different. You get to spend more time with the watch, so you have more in-depth information about it. So that's another thing too. 2026, I need to buy at least a watch for my collection. Review watches don't count. Yeah, and that's a thing too, Jason. I found that I don't want to buy as many watches because I do get them in for review and it does scratch that itch. And I understand that that's also a perspective for you guys on this live as well. All year round showing support and everything else. You guys see watches come into the channel. And so it's easy for me to say, enjoy what you have, because I get to scratch that itch on those handlings of watches. But nonetheless, even still, Noctua Watches is in the building. JP, what's going on, brother, man? How are you? Nick Figueroa, Skylar has a hammy. Yeah, man. First Hamilton in the collection, and it's the way that I wanted to go. So let me show you guys some watches. I wanted to say hi as you guys rolled in. I said hi to Nick Figueroa. He's in the building. Happy holidays, sir. I am looking forward to 2026 as well, man. Very excited. and everything else. So first and foremost, let's take a look at this Seville and the bracelet that I have on it right now. Now this is from Mark Long Island Watch. He's got the J style on here. Oh, I guess I'm not selling the bracelet, so I can say it's a Jubilee, but it is in fact an upgrade for this watch altogether. Now the bracelet that came from Bulova itself was a butterfly clasp, if you guys remember, and I have nothing bad to say about that clasp or that bracelet because it did have half links on that bracelet, right? So there are people that don't like butterfly no matter what, but especially because you don't get to tune in that size that you really want. However, Bulova did include 2 half links, so I was really impressed with that. And I'm actually impressed by a couple things from this Hamilton too that we'll talk about as well. But for all intents purposes, I really love this. Mark reached out. He saw I just did the review for this, so it was just great timing. And, you know, I really love Long Island Watch. I love all the things that they produce. He produced this bracelet for the Seville. Now, one of the things that's good about it, you don't have the quick release, which is fine because this is more of an integrated style bracelet. So how much, you know, straps are you going to be swapping out to begin with? However, he did include the micro adjust on the fly. So it is like a ratcheting system where you pull up the latch and then you just choose the size that you want, which is always going to even outperform having a half link for the watch itself. So that is incredible that he just came out with it. The Seville is something that is resurfacing and people are talking about more. I loved the collaboration that they did with Complecto as well. They had the stone dials on here. It's just a phenomenal watch, and it's them reaching into their own archives. I'm not mad at the fluted bezel, and what I was especially surprised about with this, not only is the smooth sweep being derived from a high beat quartz, but also I wasn't mad at the Cyclops, which I usually normally remove on all my watches, but I'll tell you what, I'm not doing it this time because it fits for the K shape. It is done very, very well, 2.5 magnification and everything else. And again, I don't know if you guys can see the second hand, but you're still getting a super smooth sweep. So it's a solid watch for sure. And it's something that I would recommend if you have the price point and you're new to watch collecting. This is actually a phenomenal piece for you because it gives you that first taste of watches where you don't have to tend to it as much as you would with a mechanical watch. You still want to mind when you switch the dates. I usually change mine at 6 a.m. There's a grace period which you could do that, but normally when I first wake up, if I do have to adjust the date on that, I do it then. Just for those who don't know, you can mess up the mechanism or the complication of the date wheel, and by doing it at the wrong time when it's starting to engage. So make sure you change that at the right time. But if you're new to watch collecting, man, the Seville is a solid watch. Super happy to have it in my collection now. And Long Island Watch made it even better with his bracelet to pair with it. So super happy about it. How thick is that Sky? Are we talking about the bracelet or are we talking about the Seville itself? I believe the Seville itself is around 9 millimeters. The bracelet, I'm not too sure of off the fly, but I did include links. I'm not sure if I included the Bulova Super Seville directly. You guys can watch the review if you want to see the specifications on it or go to the website. But I did include links to everything that we're going to talk about here, all of the watches that I'm going to showcase, including this Hammy, which I got through a relationship with Trifecta. Shout out to them. Shout out to Jake. And he was a phenomenal... Listen, I've been hard pressed to find a good relationship with an actual physical AD. I can't unfortunately visit him in person, but if you're looking for a person that's reliable, if you're looking for a person that has good customer service, they are in the description for their link to their website. It's Trifecta, and that's where I got the Hamilton. He gave me a phenomenal price on it as well, and he's always looking to give you a deal, especially if you say you're coming from Travis or myself, you know, if you heard it from the live and everything else. So the Cyclops will be appreciated with yeah, I was thinking about that too, brother. I'm like, eventually I'm going to be very happy, and then I'm not going to know what to do with the other Cyclopses that I removed. I wonder if you can have a Cyclops put onto the crystal. I'm sure that there's a way, right? If you could do it out of the factory, I'm pretty sure you could find a watchmaker that could do it as well, but that might be a thing for the date wheel apertures as we age. I love the vids from Dubai, Jason. Yeah, I love those videos from him as well. He makes very good content. Design Atelier, if you guys don't know, we sat down with him. He is the part owner of Flux and part owner of the Valor watches. Fantastic time with them. Fantastic timepieces. Really hit the market strong, as I would say, an independent brand, especially with the Flux watch altogether. 2017, I'd buy at least a watch for. I read that one. Okay, making sure we're good. Yes, I do have the Hammy for this year. Okay, I think I caught up. So The next watch that I want to show you guys is the Hamilton Murph that I finally did get. And I was back and forth. Here's the thing that you should know, and if there are any ADs watching, here's something in a customer perspective. Please showcase the Hamilton Murph on Bracelet in the 42 and in the 38. I went to several ADs just to try it on, just to see if I could get myself to put this on Bracelet. For whatever reason, they all have it on leather and they don't, quote unquote, have it in stock for you to try on Bracelet. But I knew that the 42 millimeter version, lug to lug, I think it's about 50 millimeters. It was just too big. So I'm happy with the 38. The nerd inside of me wanted the Morse code on the second hand. Maybe some way I could finesse somebody to switch out their 42 second hand on their Hamilton for the one that does. Maybe they don't like the Morse code. Far shot. But either way, super happy with this timepiece, man. And I'll tell you something. Hamilton is a conversation that I've heard amongst the ranks for a little bit, man. They came out with the Call of Duty. That was a watch that was really a shocker to the industry, a shaker, if you will, right? You get those people who are into the Call of Duty game that possibly will get into watches because of it. And I always regarded Hamilton and their field watches, especially their military style watches, to be phenomenal. I was just waiting for the right one for me, and the Murph scratch the itch, mainly because, if I'm being honest with you guys, is because of that cathedral hand that it has on it. I'm a sucker for cathedral hand. I love the faux patina. I love the spaced out dial for it and everything else. We're going to do a full review workup on it. It does have polishing on the bezel itself. The rest has a nice brush. The bracelet is actually pretty damn decent. I was really shocked. It has a milled clasp. We don't have on the fly, right? We do have micro adjust tooled, but what I was really happy and shocked to see, to be honest with you, because you don't normally get this in the big brands, is the quick release that we have here in the lugs. And especially with this Hamilton, and most Hamiltons work this way, and the Murph especially, kind of a strap monster, right? Like, I tried so many different straps on here, whether it be leather, whether it be just anything really goes with it, which is something that is super, super nice and versatile. And I'll spill the tea a little bit here and tell you that I've never had the feeling that one watch could do it all for me. And I'll tell you what, man, if this was back in the day, you know, where our grandfathers mowed the lawn and they went to church and they went to work and they all had the same watch, maybe they had one other watch that they swapped out with, but they mainly had a beater, and that was whatever watch they were wearing. But I'll tell you something, man, new age version of that, I think that this could be a one watch collection. I'm not saying that it's gonna be, because I enjoy having a larger collection, which is something we should talk about as well. But I'll tell you something, man, whether I'm in a t-shirt, whether I put on a suit, it doesn't matter. I think this just goes. The thickness is pretty thin for what it is. You have a Swiss made watch at the end of the day. It has that Hamilton backstory. It's a hype watch too. I'm not impervious to going after hype still. Is Interstellar a big reason why I purchased this watch? Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm not afraid to make moves on something that's hype, even though I recognize at this point, you have to dissect how hype you are about the watch versus just riding the wave that's going to die off and you maybe regret the watch after the fact. But super, super happy about this, man. It fits on my wrist perfectly. I'm excited to really make this part of the reviews that I'm talking about in the future. And I'll tell you what, I was impressed with the quality of the bracelet. I think these were screwed in links as well, if I'm not mistaken, right? Let me see. I've been sizing a lot of bracelets lately. So are these pins or are these screws? These are, I think these are pins actually. Yeah, these are pins, I believe, friction pins. But again, out of everything on the bracelet that you needed to do, that quick release was probably the most important because of this being a strap monster for sure. Let me catch up on chat because you guys are talking here. Sounds interesting. Wow, perfect timing. UPS just dropped off a couple of new prototype dials for me. Nice. Handmade field watch style. I'm looking forward to see that from you, bro. You have the military. So I'm talking directly to Noctua Watch Corp. If you guys haven't recognize that brand yet, I have done a review. I've shown that watch a couple of times. Fantastic military style super toolish, right? With the bead blast all over it. That's really nice. And that's something that I struggled with a little bit with the hammy. I'm like, why did they polish the bezel? This is a tool watch. But at the end of the day, you know, you're splitting hairs. They did sign the crown, which is nice too. I think that's something that you have to do as a big brand at this point. You missed the opportunity for branding for that. But yeah, going back to Noctua watches, stay tuned. He's got some dials that he's coming out, and I'm sure that right? Ben 10, you're funny, bro. I'm sure that he's got some nice stuff in store, and he's always got good ideas flowing. Robert Wood is in the building right now. YouTube is portraying you as Robert Wood Audio, but happy Monday, fun day, and happy New Year to you too as well, sir. Cyclops, okay, I read that. Perfect timing. I read that, right? I don't know where that's totally a content creator thing. I don't think I do that in real life. For some reason, when I hit live, I've got that vernacular. You are wearing the Tudor Black Bay 58925. Fire, bro. Fire. Well, I've got my hammy, so there you go. And the Seville. And I've got more watches to show you guys. I absolutely do. So I didn't do a state of the collection this year. Just hard pressed on time. Right after this live is over, by the way, I'm re-releasing that Erebus video. The audio has been fixed. I do apologize for that. I'm sorry if it comes up on your feed again. I just thought it was a little too choppy to keep out there, so we will re-release that. But, that being said, I've got some watches on me that I want to show you guys. After all, this is a watch channel, and I did the review for this guy, right? Ultra Black Arsenale. You guys know how I feel about this for sure. And listen, I gave it its proper critiques. They did a butterfly class. They didn't give micro adjustment on it. I think that it also should have quick release. I am on top of Venezianico right now for this watch. I'm being a savage, and it's coming out of love. I want them to win all their way, and where they are right now in the market, where they are with the hype, where they are positionally, because this is a micro brand channel at the end of the day, right? I do have big brands that I showcase as well that are affordable. That'll always be the case, and we'll creep into luxury, Ben 10, just for you, eventually. However, when it comes to micro brands, and when it comes to my top 5 micro brands like Venezianico is in, I was all over them with this bracelet, man. And that was the only thing that was a letdown. Aside from that, it is absolutely gorgeous, including the bracelet itself aesthetically, right? Like, it is, at the end of the day, screwed in links. It articulates butter smooth for a bracelet. It's very beautiful. It's very correct. What do I mean by that? It's polished on the sides, and it's brushed in the center. So when you have that high contact areas like at the clasp, in which they put their little logo on here too, just to make it continuous, it's beautiful. It's a butterfly at the end of the day. They need half links, and I don't even think that they had half links after the fact. They did for the other Rendendore edition that they had, but they haven't made one for this yet too, and it needs to be included. Rant over. And it needs that quick release also as well. And I also think that they should have given a leather strap. Okay, end of story. Aside from that, you would have to get over it being a two-hander. As they progressed with this collection, they did switch over to giving three-handers. This is the Miyota 9029, and then they went to the 39 and the 15, I believe, for the three-handers as well. But I still think that no second hand on this watch is correct, because at the end of the day, they wanted to do like an interstellar theme, slow movement, outer space, deep black. It all falls into place, so I'm not so mad about this as well. If you're interested, I did a full workup on it, and it is live if you want to see that as well. So check that out. I wouldn't come to quick release. Wait, say, why wouldn't it? And I don't know, Fred. I don't know. At this stage in the game too, again, tough love, because I absolutely, you guys know how I feel about Venezianico. But I'm not going to hold back punches, especially where I feel that that is something that should be covered at this point. They're at the price point. They're giving us so many different iterations. You guys seen that that man-made opal? Oh, that's beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's more of a dress watch kind of stone to me. They put it on the diver. That's fine, because they have it down packed as far as using materials on their dials by lifting the indices onto the chapter ring, so it kind of floats over the dial, less failure rate. So if you want to do a Venturine, if you want to do whatever you want to do that has a higher fail rate, Venezianico has figured it out. Not particularly in this model, because there's nothing else on it except for the logo. But I think that they've come hot and heavy for 25, and they're not going to stop. And I'm very proud of them. And they do have what Ben 10 would call it, not an in-house movement all the way. No, that was John. I'm sorry. But I like to see brands on the way up, because look at it this way. This is how I look at it. I've got a Hammy on my wrist and I've got Boulevard, but if you wanted to start a watch company and you didn't have $10 million, the way that you would start is through micro brands, and you would slowly grow, progress, get better, fill in those spots where people do need them, right? Because this has the quick release, but it doesn't have the on the fly. This has on the fly, but it doesn't have the quick release. So there are things that can be improved, and how you will see new brands be born over time. And I know some people still don't believe in micro brands, and that's totally fine. But at the end of the day, we're living through history when we see these brands come up through that kind of pathway, if you will. Skylar, Review God Santana, slow down, bro. Slow down. I'm okay with Professor. I'm okay with Guide. But I don't know about Review God. I don't know about all that. Maybe I got to figure out my sound before I release a video before you can say that. You know what I mean? Let's humble this down real quick. What else are you guys saying? But yes, Travis is in the building. Travis, by the way, I did a shout out for Trifecta. Guys, the link for that AD is in every watch that we're talking about here. And at this point, it's going to be a promoted type of thing, because I've got a bunch of watches that were given to the channel that are kind of like my state of the collection, but what's newer to the channel as is right now. So check out those links that are in there if you want to see what watches that we're talking about close up. Thank you. Getting a hand heart in 2026. Hand heart. Yeah, I think actually Noctua, JP, just got a hand heart not too long ago. I definitely am respecting a lot of what Handheart is doing, especially TGV also covers it a lot. I think he did like collaboration things with them, so that's a fantastic brand as well. For sure, I'll be on the lookout for that. If you have 60 watches and no Rolex, that's suspicious. That's more like it's humbled, okay? Eventually we'll work our way to the Rolly, man. I'm not in any rush, and I'll be honest with you, if I'm going to make a comment about that today, I would say that I'd be more interested in vintage Rolex at this point. But I'm in no rush, man. It's a marathon, you know. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon, and I'm fully enjoying the process of where we are, how we're progressing along. I'm stepping into a little bit of, I don't know, you want to call this luxury? I call it luxury. At the end of the day, it's Swiss made, you know. It's not $300, you know. So what's your definition of luxury? They're all luxury at the end of the day. But I think that a lot of you guys, Ben 10, you're included. There's other gentlemen here or ladies in the chat, maybe, that collect higher luxury things. And it's nothing but I'm not ready for that conversation yet. And I'm not going to do it just to do it. Because look, if I slap Rolex on a title of a video, I'm sure it's going to easily do twice as good as any other video. But it's just not my thing, man. It's not what I'm super excited about just yet. But we'll get there for sure. What's the next watch? Eric Mack is in the building. Where do I want to go from here? I showed you the Venezianico. You know what? Let's bring up the Marktime. I haven't showed you guys this watch yet. It actually came in the mail. We did a nice little sit-down interview with Marktime, Mark Register. And he blessed me with the M6, man. We talked about it. We brought it up on the website and everything else. Now, I went with the pink, man. Listen. I'm trying to get all the colors in the rainbow right now to fit for me. Unfortunately, this doesn't really go with my color tone. It's absolutely beautiful. I love it. I love where he's gone with the aesthetics totally, right? For the case shape to the bracelet, it's got hardness coating, it's got quick release, it's got on the fly, it's got screwed in links, it's got all the bells and whistles, Mioto movement in here, true no date. Fantastic. I mean, I've seen the evolution from Marktime. I still really love my M1 too. And so I gave this to wifey, and she looks badass in this watch, just so I can tell you guys. You don't have to, if you're a female, go with a smaller size watch. There's no such thing. And it's not because it's pink, even though she does like this, what is it called? Soft pink? Or no, there's another name for it. But I tried to pull it off, but it just doesn't look good on my skin tone. But it's a beautiful watch. It's a lovely addition to her collection. She's got a badass collection now, by the way. way. But it's a badass watch nonetheless, and he's got a bunch of different colors too. So he's also in the description if you guys want to check out Marktime's watches. This is years in the making. He's gone through literally iteration to iteration. Again, I've showcased that bronze watch that I have from him, the M12. I don't have it on me, but I always showcase it. And to see him come here is absolutely phenomenal. I can't wait to see what he does next. I think he's going more of a circular watch. I'm not sure what style and everything else, but you have that Bauhaus type of feel. Not totally, right? Because you don't have very skinny hands and stuff like that, but super minimalistic. You can still set the time exactly, because if you guys can see, versus the M12 where he had the braille on the inside, he actually put the braille on the bezel itself, not only to give it style, but to give it functionality for you to set those time and keep everything minimalistic. It does have a branding logo here, but it's kind of hidden. You have to get really close to it, and there's no way, I don't think we're going to be able to pick it up from here. Maybe I could zoom. Let's see. You guys could kind of see it at the 12, but again, you can go to the website and you guys can see the watches up close and everything else. But bracelet feels phenomenal, completely finished here. H-style link, again, hardness coating, milled, on the fly, quick release. I mean, you name it, it's got it. It's really, really nice. It's got a taper to it, as you guys can see. Just fantastic work. And really proud of him for coming thus far and really putting everything into it. It's time to move on, though, Mark Register, if you're listening. He knows that. I'm just teasing him. What are you guys saying in chat? Is legibility an issue on this one? No, legibility is not an issue at all. I would say the only thing that you would have to do is take a quick second, but at the end of the day, you have all the markings here. So you would know that this is the beginning of the minute, and then these are the minutes in between. So not so much, man. It's a trade-off, right? It's a style, it's a vibe. Look, if you're not into minimalistic watches, you're not going to do something like this, right? And especially because this could rub somebody wrong two ways. It has 0 markings, right? And also it doesn't have the second hand, right? But I still love it. And you know, I'm not just saying that because I have the Rendendore Aventurine, which doesn't have any markings on it either way, and we purchased that, right? The wife got it for me for my birthday. But I've always had that spot in the collection for something super minimalistic. Look, you don't wear this when you have an important meeting and it's going to decide your career for the rest of your life. You put this on a lazy Sunday where you're just maxing and relaxing, or you're going to a super special occasion like a wedding or something like that. Like, this is a super nice flex watch at a wedding. It's very, very handsome. It's very clean cut, very close to the wrist, right? Sub 9 millimeters. I think it's 8.95 millimeters. It's just really, really nice. And in the world of integrated bracelet, which seems very plentiful this day and age, it's fantastic, man. And that's just how I approach minimalistic watches as is. But I'll show you guys even this on wrist. You guys probably seen it with me on my videos. But look how handsome that looks. Look how flush that is. Let's do down the barrel so you guys can see. And I'll tell you what, man, again, one thing that has changed even the way I wear watches moving forward. So I've always worn the watch where you're not able to pull it past the bone, right? I've always liked it as loose as it can be before you could even manipulate it past that. I've now changed that where I like the watches to be a little bit more looser on wrist, because I fluctuate with thermal expansion, even in the wintertime, right? You go from the cold outside where you're super cold, then you go take a hot shower, and it just becomes annoying. So now I'm at least able to get like a finger underneath. It can slip past the bone. I have a little thermal expansion now because I'm in the warm, but it's still very difficult. So this doesn't have half links on it. I gave it slack for that, but it also doesn't slip past the bone super, super easy. If I was to just leave it here and just go throughout my day and put my arm upside down, it doesn't slip. But if I give it like a little gusto and everything else. So that idea has affected how I wear even something with a micro on the fly adjustment as well. I'm putting them a little bit looser and I'm just experiencing more thermal expansion of my wrist. It's just something that's happening to me personally. But I know that as a reviewer, as a content reviewer, you know, it's important for you guys to get your on the fly, on the micro adjustment is preferred. This way you don't need tools and everything else. But that's something that's changed a little bit. Gaetano's in the building. What's going on, brother, man? How are you? Raymond D's also in here. How are you? Skylar is an enabler. I'll take it, man. I'll take it. It's loud silence. It's definitely a vibe. What are we talking about here? Oh, hi, I'm hovering over the buy now button on the green Super Seville. And I'm telling you, man, like ever since I have put my focus on the Super Seville, I've had so many people who collect watches tell me that they're so interested either in putting it in their collection or they've already had it in their collection and they're super happy with it. No pun intended, maybe a little bit. And I get it now because I've handled the watch. I actually went to the mall and I took a look at all of the colors and everything else. I was so close to the green and gold. I didn't do it because it didn't go with my complexion, but you can't go wrong, man. And not just like I mentioned the complecto versions of this, but really just even the base models, you know what I mean? I don't know how to address that. The complecto ones are a little bit more, they're stone dials, they're a little bit more pizzazz to them. But listen, man, this goes for a lot of people, not only dimensionally, but also functionally for what you want to do on a daily basis. You can put this with jeans and a white t-shirt, or you can dress this the hell up because it has the fluted bezel. And again, if you already own this, I have to recommend the Long Island bracelet at that point because it just gives it that little bit more gusto for being able to do those smaller adjustments that you may or may not need. And for me, I definitely need it too. So it was just perfect timing that Mark just came out with a bracelet for it. And he just did a video. I didn't get a chance to look at it though, but super cool cat, man. And you got to support your local micro brands as well. What are we talking about? Hovering over the buy now. Thought it was over until I started watching this stream. I'm sorry, man. Listen, I won't be mad at you if you just snag one more, just one more. But you're not gonna. The point is, you're not gonna be disappointed with the Super Seville from Boulevard at all. You just won't. You just won't. Listen, if it's not hurting you financially and it's responsible, just do it. Just do it. I guess I am an enabler. Hold on. What are we talking about? Ben 10's the coolest hater on YouTube. Yeah, man. He's kind of like that rude cousin that just always gets on you, but you have to invite him to the family functions anyway. And you love him, but you hate him at the same time. Right? I'm only a problem with the Seville is the bezel looks. Yeah, so Fred, if you don't like the fluted bezel, I'm not a fluted bezel guy. Like I definitely, because I don't have any fluted bezels throughout any of my watches aside from the Seville. It's done tastefully enough. Listen, I look at the fluted bezel kind of like feminine, and it doesn't make sense because watches don't have a sex. This is my own personal opinion. I do feel the fluted bezel is a little too jewelry, pizzazzy, but remember that Boulevard is re-releasing something from their own archives when it comes to this, and in that style of TV world, TV style watches and watch heads. You know, the fluted bezel was there and there was plenty of men who purchased them and everything else. And I'll tell you what, it's not an eyesore where I'm like constantly looking at it like, And actually I've grown to like it. And I'll tell you what, just to be a complete salesman, if you look at the Jubilee style bracelet that it's on, it kind of matches and highlights that, right? So you have that eye-catching, eye-dancing fluted bezel. And then you have the what do you call this? The Jubilee style that's also polished in the center, brushed on the sides, and then the side profile is polished here. I do wish that this was brushed just to match the side profile of the case itself, but listen, you're splitting hairs and you're just looking for a reason to complain at that point. I'm never looking at the side of my watch when it's on like, oh, I really wish that was brushed. You know what I mean? It's just the reviewer side of me that has to look and scrutinize every other detail. Aside from that, super smooth. Listen, all the bracelets that I'm going to show you guys here, and I still have 3 other watches that I have to show you, but he gave it the taper too. Super smooth on the finishes, feels good, feels buttery smooth. It is actually supple even though it's metal. How about that? Skylar is getting close to that date just after getting this Seville. What does that mean? Hold on. I think I got to read back what do you guys say? I've accepted my irresponsibility. It is what it is, bro. What are you going to do? But you have to do it on all the watches because I never do that. Okay, I'm a little lost. Hold on. I think the word is honest is replaced with hate. Okay, I see what you did there. All you Rudy post. Skylar's getting close to that date after getting the Seville. Ben 10 doesn't hate, he just speaks with his mind. A rude form of way. Thanks, Skylar. You got it, bro. No problem. Any questions? Guys, if you have any questions about the watches that I'm showing you here today, I'm more than happy to. I may not know certain dimensions off the top of my head. We do have links in the description if you want to check for those technical things. But I'll do the best I can. And you guys can ask me any questions that we're covering here today. Ben, the truth, he's saying you're going to buy a Rolex date. Oh, okay. Yeah. He's saying that the next one, okay, I'm going to reach for the crown. It's going to happen, dude. I'm not even going to lie. Eventually, it's going to happen. You know what it is? For the craftsmanship, for the horological significance of what Rolex... Because look, I think you guys probably watch these channels too, where you see them take the movement apart. What's that gentleman's name? The real famous one. I can't think of his name, but you guys know who I'm talking about. I've seen him service Rolex before, man, and I've watched a whole bunch of his other videos. The movement itself and the actual pieces just fall. It almost puts itself together. And so that for me was the first indication that, okay, this is not just an upscale watch just to buy just for a flex. There's actually a lot of craftsmanship into the movement of a Rolex itself, to where when you talk to a watchmaker, they're more than happy to service a Rolex watch because A, they're probably going to charge you a pretty price for it, but also because all of the parts, all of the gears, all of the bridges, especially the bridges, when the bridges have to catch the train of wheels, that's by far, and I've taken a movement apart and put it back together, so I'm speaking from somewhat experience, not a Rolex, calm down. But that is the hardest thing to do, and you have to make sure that you're catching all those pivots from those train of wheels on the money, because you could crack them, you could break them. And again, when you're reassembling after doing a cleaning on a Rolex movement, it just puts itself together. Like it's crazy. It's beautiful. So if you appreciate that kind of thing, you just have to give the crown the respect that it deserves at that point. But we're getting off topic. What's your dream, Ben? What's your dream watch? Rolex movement is top notch. Yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you what, I'm not gonna, even if I get a vintage Rolex, I'm not gonna baby it. And I'm not, what's vintage? It could be 15 years, it could be 20 years. It doesn't have to be that old. I just don't think I'm gonna get something hot out of the oven, because I don't think it's necessary. The whole point is that it can be an heirloom, it can be passed down. So why not go for something that has a little of that price knocked off of it? Skylar, what is yours? Oh, the Accutron, bro, that's easy. Like 2026. Oh, we didn't talk about that. So whilst we burn a little bit of time before I show you guys the last 3 watches that I have here, what are your plans now that we have people on chat, man? What's the plan for 2026? I'll tell you what, for me, for sure, it's going to be slowing down dramatically. I know we say that every year. I'm going to slow down. I'm going to enjoy what I have. But it's the truth now, because I'm 5-6 years into collecting. So what else is there for me that I have to tangibly address for my collection? Because I've gotten all the colors and all the specs, not every single spec, but I think all the specs that really matter to me the most. Of course, we can introduce heritage, is what we're doing already. You could dip your toes for that. But I think what really fascinates me right now as a collector is patents, is innovation, is exactly what the Accutron is showing us when it comes to the space view. And so for now, that's what's really on my target. I'm actually going to save up for that and buy nothing in between. Hopefully there's one other watch, that Traska Jump Hour, but I'm not so gung-ho about it as well, and I really want to fight the urge of getting anything in between, and I'm going to let the hobby pay for the upscale watches, if you will. Like, right, we're doing all this hard work for the content and everything else, so why not introduce that in order to reach some of those goals, if I'm being candid and honest with you guys. And it's not a cheap watch, right? It's up there, but I think that even though Accutron undoubtedly has a phenomenal history, right? There's nobody that's going to say that, well, they don't have heritage. But I think what fascinates me the most about that is the actual technology that they placed within it. There's nothing like it. And so I even need to spend more time understanding it. But whilst I do that, I'm going to enjoy the collection that I have. Because again, I have not shown you guys everything in my collection. I have literally watches in my box that I have not reviewed that I own, that instead of doing a state of a collection and trying to go through a minute per watch, which would still be an hour, I rather just do the reviews for those watches one by one. I'm showcasing today some of the newer stuff in the collection, so you guys kind of see a state of collection that way. But yeah, that's the plan for 2026. And it used to be the Bel Canto. I don't know what happened, but I think that although the Bel Canto is still very, very impressive, I think that I just was more impressed by the Accutron. And that doesn't mean that I'm not going to get the Bel Canto. In fact, the Bel Canto positionally was magnificent. It really was a game changer, especially in the world of independent brand, micro brand, whatever you want to call it. And so there's a lot of appreciation to it as a collector that I could understand for sure. And I'm not saying that it's off the table. What I foresee is that the longer you let the Bel Canto bake, the more options you're going to have. Maybe they discontinue some things, but they're surely not done with it, because it was a rocket ship, or maybe they were already in the rocket ship and it just was additional rocket fuel. But for sure, I feel like Chris Ward was then more so well respected after the fact of the Bel Canto, now the Loco, and everything else that they're moving forward. They're full steam ahead. They're not slowing down. And why should they? So the plan is, and you guys could hold me accountable, is go for the Space View. I'm not sure. There's two versions of the Space View. There's one that's more round and one that's more oval. I'm not sure which one. I got to put it on wrist, but I also have to save up some coin before I do anything else. So that's for sure. Kevin Cook is in the building. What's going on, bro? What are the 3 dial colors you'll be like to see? What are the 3 dial colors you'd like to see in 2026? That's for you guys, chat. That's for you guys. On that. For me, I don't know, man. Traska Jump Hour looked so dope until I realized that some of its before I realized some of its references were, my next more expensive purchase will be a field watch. Yes, sir. I may buy a couple of cheap other ones in the meantime. And see, that's the thing, Fred. That may work for you. I'm afraid of doing that because that's how it gets away. And especially when we talk about micro brands and independent brands, that's another thing we should talk about, because this year we've seen an accelerant for micro brands. And I could just pick 2 names and there's probably about 50 to 70 watches that were new for 2025 between them. Yes. So we're seeing a lot of rapid fire from micro brands. They've always been quick on the draw because they have smaller batches. So they're just more flexible in coming out with the next thing. But we're seeing a lot of upscale, especially with the higher echelons to micro brands and independent brands. There's a lot of rapid fire. And so if I make the rule for myself, this may work for you, Fred, it may not work for me. If I allow myself the watches in between, I feel like I'll just never get there. So I rather focus on the one that I really want. That's the Grail watch. And Grail definition on this channel is something that you can obtain that just takes you more time rather than just something you dream about. I don't find the purpose of dreaming about something I could never own. Purchase. Okay, I read that. The movement right. Rolex gets the movement right. You're funny, bro. Accutron is cool. Yeah, they're definitely cool, man. Just the way that power works and everything else. Did I miss anything? I think I got everything. Hold on, I'm just catching up on chat. Apologies. Mint green might be, yeah, you know what? Now that you mention that, Knives, mint green, because you know what? There's a Boulevard watch. It's not the Seville. It is the Surveyor. They have that kind of, that green that's just like different. And I'm not saying that you should come out with a color just like it, but something within that realm. Does it have to be sunburst? No. Maybe it needs to be textured. I don't know. Something like that would be pretty interesting, I think. Champagne color is another good suggestion. Yes, there you go. The Accutron DNA has an integrated strap design that gives less strap options for the classic design 22 will do. Got you. Got you. And so now, is there Eric Mack? Oh, you own that. That's right. Does that have quick release on there? What's going on with that? And there's no bracelet option, right? There may be some things, but at the end of the day, dude, period, I'm buying the watch for the watch head alone. Like, I don't even care. You know what I mean? Like, with all those, what does that have? Like 23 to 28? What is it? 28 patents? It's crazy, man. Just the tech on that. It's really, really crazy. So anyway, as you guys warm up the chat with those answers, Eric Mack especially, let's show you guys the next watch. And it's actually a review you're going to see released very, very soon. I was pleasantly surprised by the Titan. Yes, we've talked about the Titan on this channel. And so much so that we've talked about the Titan when he first announced it. We did go to Wind Up. We took a look at it. We had some conversations with the brand owner, Steve. That's right. I gave Steve the spotlight because Mr. Jody gets too much spotlight. I had to kind of twist his arm a little bit, but he was a natural. So Steve, if you're watching, you do need to get in front of the camera more. You did a phenomenal job. And you both did a phenomenal job with this watch altogether. So this watch is bigger, right? This is a 44 millimeter, right? But it has that compact kind of look to it where you normally would see, like, let's say in a Seiko, especially with this crown position. What's surprising is how well this fits. And there's a lot of you guys that are into larger watches that are in the chat now. So this should be on your radar for sure. It has the helium escape valve. It has hardened coating throughout the case, throughout the bracelet. You have that engineer bracelet style. It is supple, even though it's thicker to match the profile of the case. It is very, very nice to feel. The edges have been nicely smoothed out. Of course, we're going to get quick release. Of course, we're going to get on the fly micro adjustment. I mean, Jody knows what he's doing. Now, this is a dome crystal, so you're going to catch some glare on here inevitably. You see how that's a little domed, but there is AR coating. The lumen's phenomenal. You guys are going to see all of these things in my review. And what I've liked the most about this as I transition it onto my wrist is just the wearability. It is heavier than your standard watch is. And if you're not used to that, that's something you probably have to get used to. But look how it fits on my 7¼ inch wrist. Because of the lug to lug, it is snug as a bug, and the bezel sits flush with the case itself, which I think was a really smart design choice, just to lean into that, you know, fitting into that compact kind of thing as well. It looks like it's overhanging, but it really doesn't. It's just maybe how I have it positioned. Here we go. So it's right there, right? And I think this is, what is this, a 47? I should know, I just reviewed it. But yeah, man, I was pleasantly surprised. And I got a lot of people's feedback with this watch as well. A lot of people said the same thing. When they put this watch on wrist, when you see it next to another watch, you're like, I don't know, like that's kind of big. It has a presence. Yes, that's the whole point of this Erebus Titan. And the reason why I have such a big collection is sometimes I'm in the mood for a certain flavor. Sometimes I want something with a lot of wrist presence on it. It is thick. We do have the NH35 movement within it, which also what I love, which is something that is rare. NH35, but he did the date wheel aperture at the 6 o'clock and he matched it as well. So we can tell that this is done by a watch reviewer that knows all the requests from nerdy collectors as well. So he did a phenomenal job with that too. But yeah, man, sometimes I have the BLP. Shout out to the BLP, shout out to Long Island Watch, who saved my BLP as well by coming out with a bracelet for it. I showed you guys that on a live as well. That lug to lug is vicious. And so when you put a leather strap on the BLP, it looks wonky. It doesn't look right. And when I attached the Long Island bracelet on it, it didn't make the lug to lug shorter. But perception is everything. And so when you made the connection, I wish I had it with me. When you made that connection, it did make it fit nicer. But anyway, I was pleasantly surprised about this. It's super smooth to the crown tube on the crown, extra large crown. Crown size matters. You guys know I say that all the time. It just has that bulky wrist present. Think Seiko Turtle, but even beefier. But what is pushing it over the edge? And I think that what was the most crucial thing, aside from the hardness coating that I think needs to be advertised a little bit more on the Erebus website, he has it listed within description text, but he doesn't have it listed within the description rundown, if that makes any sense. So when he's giving you the diameter, the height, the thickness, all that other stuff, or the lug to lug, that should be stated on there as well, because that fell upon me right before I recorded everything, and I was like, oh snap. there's hardness coating on here, and everything is brushed on here. The whole watch is brushed except for the applied logo and the indices itself. He did a texture flooring. This way you have less reflection going back. If you would imagine, if you did a sunburst dial, you'd have more reflective properties against the dome crystal, which you want to avoid adding to that already from the nature of it. But there is AR coating to offset it as well. So very intelligent. Now, Ben 10, I already heard your voice. I didn't even read the chat yet. I know you're going to say that the indices, rather the hands are too large. That was the only critique that I really had. I'm not mad at it because at the end of the day, it's effectively doing its job. Even from here, you could tell the time. It's supposed to be legible. That was the whole purpose. Big, bold, legible. What is it, 180 it's called? A 180 turn from the ascent that he did. So it's so interesting to see the pivot. Like, Erebus keeps you on your toes, is what I'm saying. He'll go from a 34 with a Miyota movement, which you don't really see, and then he'll do a 44. You know what I mean? So it's very interesting to see the mind's eye of a watch reviewer and how he decides to move forward, but still covering all the bases. And that's pretty much the Erebus MO, right? If you buy an Erebus, you're going to get the specs covered fully. And I forgot to mention the 500 meters of water resistance and a helium escape valve for the price. Okay, I read that. Let me catch up on chat. I'm doing a Fume Green Fire. Fume Green Salida movement. Oh, Noctua is moving into the Salida movement. You know what that means, bro. I got to get my grubby little hands on it. You know what I'm saying? We'll talk after. Dark bronze case. A dark bronze case on... See, this is... I was just talking about how... And realized that JP's plugged into the Matrix as well. He has a channel also as a reviewer, builder, however you want to call it. But he's in the business of talking about watches prior to coming out with his brand, Noctua Watch Corp. And so... fingers on the trigger and eyes on the ball, because he's doing something extremely different from what he had already, which is going to be everything that he's showcasing here. Leather strap. I'm wondering about a couple of other dial colors and options. Dude, JP, you could always reach out, bro. Bounce it off of me. We'll talk. When I say cheap watches, I mean cheap, just to satisfy the urge. Okay. I buy something, but yes, I'm hearing you. Okay, Fred, that's completely different. You know, if you get this, okay, so I don't like to call them cheap. We're getting caught up on words. Fred, I call them snackers. Get a G-Shock. You know what I mean? Cheap is cheap. Cheap is, I have the watch for a week, it fell apart. There's snackers, there's the G-Shocks, there's the F91W that I always have on me, right? I modified that as well. There's snackers that you could do in between, which doesn't really set you back too far. So if that's what you're talking about, that makes a lot of sense. We're at 51 minutes. I'm going to try to stay close to an hour here, guys. Thoughts on Sega design? I'm not mad at it. I don't have too much of an opinion. I don't have too much hands-on experience with Sega design. But from bird's eye view, I'm not mad at it at all. I mean, I don't find anything that I really need to steer somebody away from it. It's very, I don't want to say niche. I want to say it's very particular in somebody wanting to put a funky chicken into their collection. Actually, my brother went to Wind Up and he was pulled in by some of their watches too. And so, I don't know, man, just reading the specs and reading some feedback from the community from them, it doesn't seem like a bad idea if you're into it. And I'm into funky chickens to have into my collection every now and again for sure. And I love them all just the same. Do they sell it on a bracelet? I don't know. If it has a taper, it seems like Invicta is lowering their brand status, being on Whatnot. I mean, I feel like Invicta's been on a downhill. And then especially when you have, just to bring up the Titan again, right? Not as big as an Invicta. Invicta's usually like 52, 53 millimeters, but at a 44, it gives you that big wrist kind of feel, which is why I think Jody went to do this. And then when you get somebody like this, and then we've talked about, what's his name? Wang. What's his name? Not Android, but Aragon. I've danced in and out of Aragon because I'm still actively looking for a micro brand that does large style watches, because I know that there's a lot of people that are interested in that style regardless. And I'm not talking about big boys, I'm talking about big boys. And Aragon, he does the big boys. And I've always felt like, with that size, with that amount of metal, why not do it in titanium where you get 40% less weight on it, right? So I know that he has a couple of models like that. I maybe need to speak to Wang and see if he's interested to send me some models down the road, just to see how that fares out, because I know a couple of you guys like the bigger watches and more so on the affordable side. I know he's got anywhere from $300 to $800 price range, so it's a good fit. So if you're looking to get out of the Invicta wave, I mean, look, I'm not the one to comment on Invicta like that deeply. You know, I bought a couple of their watches. I've since moved on. It's just not for me. They were too big. They were too heavy. They were too bulky. I only have the Joker left because I absolutely love that ugly watch. But yeah, I would say positionally and as a watch enthusiast and as a influencer, content creator, whatever, you know, I understand and respect that there's people out there that just love large style watches. And so I for sure don't want to shortchange anybody just because I may not particularly be into that size. But I'm into 44 in a compact size lug to lug for sure. And I would be interested in reintroducing something crazy like a 53 if it wasn't titanium, because look, I wear that Joker altogether with every link on that Joker. It's 400 grams. It hurts. It just hurts to wear. So that's that. Jody stole my bezel insert design. I don't know, man. I don't know if you could say such things, bro. I think you need to calm down. It's all open game, baby. You know that. You know that. Titan has so many good design features, case, and you know what? You're not wrong. And what I loved that Jody included was the fact that he had a prototype of this, to where I believe it was a little thicker than he'd like. It's still a thick boy, but also the more important thing was that the lug to lug was too big. And so he went back to the drawing board with that before releasing it. Just knowing that it needs to be more compact to be more accepted into the wrists of people that normally wouldn't want such a big watch, but may entertain it after they see those compact sizes, especially when you can receive 500 meters with a helium escape valve on the watch as well. I mean, that is the push that goes over it, because look, I'm sure that a lot of people that have been collecting for years have design fatigue from divers. However, when you have those aspects, whether you're going to utilize the 500 meters or not, chances are you're not even going to come close to using that. It just comes down to sport, and the sport is adding set features into your collection, just because Squale 1521 is an example of that, right? Same thing, 500 meters, I believe, yeah, 50 ATM. And so, you know, you can go that route and get a Swiss made, or you can go this route where it's more of the micro brand affordable space. Yes, NH35, get over it, don't get over it, it's up to you, but you're still getting that feature and you're getting it at that price point. Otherwise, you tell me a watch that's 500 meters of water resistance with a helium escape valve, okay, that I actually believe will survive that depth from the quality of the brand at that price. Don't worry, I'll wait. You guys probably do have suggestions anyway. Okay, wait, hold on. I was here. If I skipped your comment, my bad. I'm going to start off from this point. How close to Sapphire in the hardness? How close is Sapphire in hard? It's really, really hard. It's hard, very difficult to scratch. I don't know. Okay, so I just see that the minute hand sometimes stops on the Noctua, so I guess that the battery either was new, not sure. Volts on the battery. The Noctua watches are all mechanical. I have that happening all the time with the cheapest battery. Oh wait, did I read that wrong? In the minute hand, stop it. Oh, you were just saying his name. Sorry. Wait, what watch were we talking about? Hold on, I gotta go back. Okay, I don't know. I don't want to get too lost. Let me catch up on chat. Let me start from the bottom. That Joker is when you go to a place when you need to protect yourself. I literally, so Raymond, I bought that Joker Invicta in Heath Ledger's honor for the performance that he did in Batman Returns. And so, you know, we all know that he passed. And so I was still in the mood for a bigger size watch and literally bought that watch to wear it on Halloween instead of dressing up in a costume. Now it plays the role of being a desk clock until somebody makes me an offer for it. Because it's just too heavy and I can't find a strap for that watch. So I just give up. I go to the Invicta website. I might as well, you know, blindfold myself in the middle of the forest. I'll probably find my way out faster than I'll find a strap for that. So I've given up. I'm into big boy watches, Aragon. See, and I know this. But Aragon has some issues, as the Titan for me. Great apart from being 3mm too thick on every watch that he does. And you know, it poses a good question from that comment, right? Like, we've seen the NH35 achieve pretty slim proportions. So I'm not entirely sure if the thickness, let's say, and I know you're talking more so about Aragon, but let's bring it to, I don't have an Aragon, with this Erebus, right? It has to do with the water resistance for sure. I pronounced it wrong in the video. What did I call it? I think it's pronounced Viton gaskets or Viton gaskets. I think the thickness just has more so to do with achieving that water resistance. Now, we do have, let's say, the Squale 1521 that's thinner, still kind of chunky, but thinner as well. Does it need to be that thick? Does it need to be this thick? I don't know, man, because there's a lot of misconception with, or not misconception, but like the idea is that if you get an H35, you have to get a super thick case. That's not the case. Why? Because I have a Notice, and the Notice has thin proportions, even though it has a bezel as well. So I think relative to achieving the water resistance, it may be the thing there, but you can absolutely achieve thin proportions for the NH35 if you absolutely want to. It just comes down to, if you slap a bezel on it, you damn sure want to have at least 200mm of water resistance. The Notice I have, I think, is a 150 water resistance on it, but it's pretty thin, and they have a specific non-off-the-shelf case to it. So, you know, but listen, I have no qualms with the NH35. You'll see my review once this live is over. I'll pop it back up. I'm all right with it, man. It was single digits and I'll tell you what, man. This is a Swiss-made watch. I put this on the time graph. This was in the teens. This is an NH35, and it was below 10 plus minus 10 seconds a day. So, you know, whatever. Of course, there's a lot more to a watch than what you get out of a time graph, as we talked about do you have any funky chicken, Skylar? Yeah, Fred. The Invicta Joker I have is the funky chicken. I have more than that too. I just can't think of it off the top of my head, but I got a couple of funky. I consider my my Moon Swatch a funky chicken too. It's fun, and it's a hype watch. Do I regret it? No. Do I wear it a lot? No. But it's staying in my collection. I have so much. It's so fun to have it. It's a straight up toy. It's a straight up funky chicken. Snackers, new term for me is funky chicken. Stay tuned, man. You'll get a whole bunch of different ways of calling things here on this channel. Julius Caesar's in the building. Inexpensive is a better way to phrase it. Exactly. Cheaper and affordable are different things. Cheaper watches break. Yep. That's how, at least, like, look, I don't get caught up on wordplay. If somebody said, oh, I have a cheap G-Shock, I'm not going to say, excuse me, sir, that is affordable. Like, I know what you mean. It's just, when I use a language, I guess because the camera's on me, that I try to be a little bit more careful. But, you know, F91 Dubs, I love that nickname for it, by the way, is another great example. Last you a lifetime. It absolutely will. My wife's father has an F91W, and I think he got it back in '89 when it first was released, and it's still going. So, you know, that thing is just a tank, if you will, as far as lasting and standing the test of time. I guess that's what happened. Case, higher end luxury. Wait, what? You know, and I guess it's what has happened on the case. And since, to be honest, the watch is not high end or luxury, I didn't spend more money and get the battery. Got you. Erebus Titan, Aussie. Yep. That was that watch. We got two more, and we're past the hour. That happens sometimes. What are we talking about? Invicta owns Glycine. Yes, they do. What about that brand now? So from what I've heard, again, I could give you guys only, I tell you guys when I have hands-on and I know from like personal experience, and then I tell you guys when I hear bird's eye view and I hear things throughout the community. From what I hear, glycine is still fine. There's not too many issues with it. There were some things, I think, with Invicta changing out rotors, I believe. There may be an argument where they're not what they used to be. I don't know how Invicta is positioning glycine. They should just be using them as their higher tier, right? And trying to put as many bells and whistles, but that hasn't been their MO. So, you know, there's not much expectation from people in the community for that brand and for that reason, if you will. I have an Android. It is fun. And I guess that's because you have the watch before he changed the name. Do you have a funky chicken skylight? Yes, I answered that. Mr. Watch, into big watches. I read that. Okay, let me go back to the bottom. I had no idea how many brands there were before getting into... Yeah, that's true, man. Like, look, just micro brand alone, I think that, and I may be wrong, I may have to do my research just to touch up on, because it kind of feels like there's a brand born a day, but then there's also a brand killed off a day, if you will, right? That's why I don't have any problems with people saying, well, there's too many people entering into the market. Yeah, that may be so, but that doesn't guarantee their existence and their longevity. That just gives them a shot, and that gives us more options as collectors. So I'm open to the idea of somebody popping up and everything else. And listen, everybody has their fair shot to get their slice of bread or their slice in the pie. But that being said, understand that like everything else, I live in New York, so the market's oversaturated no matter what topic we're talking about, but we are talking about micro brands. I think that there are 500 active micro brands at the moment, plus or minus maybe 100. So just that space alone, and I didn't even know what a micro brand or independent brand was for that matter prior to that. So when you get into the hobby, it is crazy how expanding it is on a day-to-day. Same here, Orion, expanded the vintage, then expanding to vintage is crazy. Yeah, that's just a whole nother rabbit hole, expanding to vintage watches for sure. That's the best part of the micro brand industry. Most people with an idea can get their shot. Exactly. Even if they don't last, it still drives. Exactly. And it keeps even the big dogs on their toes as well. Don't get it twisted, right? There's anarchy. There's a hierarchy even when it comes to micro brands, right? Like there's those who are not yet called or claimed to be independent just yet, but you know, they're still considered big dogs. So, you know, when you're entering into that arena, into that space, there's still a big mountain to climb as well. But as you just said, oftentimes it's one guy with a passion and a dream, so I can't kill that off. I'd love to see everybody have their fair shot. I have an NH35 Seiko 5 that has 11.5 thickness for a 100-meter water resistance. I get thicker to get the water resistance, but when you're sacrificing wearability for 450 millimeter, and that might, and listen, you're going to have that opinion. Many people are going to have that opinion. That's just going to be a matter of if that sacrifice, if you will, for a bigger size, whether it be thickness or lug to lug or whatever diameter, it just has to be worth it for you. And if it's not, then there's other options, right? Not for NH35, I don't think, but I know that there was one watch, I forget the name, but they made the hockey puck Seiko style. Was it Addis Dive? They claimed to that to be like 1,000 meters of water resistance. You know what I mean? Is that true? I don't know, but apparently, but that's also a thick watch as well. So if you really want to get thinness, you're more than likely going to have somebody with more heritage and more background in manufacturing cases like a Squale, right? Somebody who's been doing it for a long time and know how to, you know, position themselves into that kind of depth without having a complete rock on your wrist. Places when you need to, okay, I read that. I'm all over the place on chat, I'm sorry. I have an Addis Dive one that was 92 bucks and it is thick but comfortable due to the invisible lugs. And that's the name of the game. Even if you look at the Seiko Arnie and like, look, this Erebus, like that was the reason why Jody decided to go back and make sure the lug to lug, like it's a thickum no matter what, right? If that bothers you on the height, you're beat. Not beat, you just don't have to buy. But at the end of the day, that still fits on wrist, right? And that's a 44 millimeter and it's pretty thick. But the lug to lug is what matters most to me. When we go back to talking about the Murph, I couldn't do the 42 because it was like a 50 lug to lug, and 50, maybe 51, 52, it just couldn't do it. And even though it's a much thinner watch, it's still not something that I personally am comfortable with wearing. So yeah, the Addy style allegedly, yeah, exactly, 1,000 meters, water is, I don't know about that, my guy. Not saying that it's not. I'm just saying that that's a pretty big claim. Does that even have a helium escape valve? And is it even possible to do a watch with that much water resistance without one? Is my question. Will it survive? Because you got to think those helium particles, or those helium gases rather, are going to slip through normal gaskets and stuff. It's the reason why it exists. So I don't know if it has to have a helium escape valve. Even has maybe, even has a, it even has a maybe helium escape valve. Okay, cool. So then maybe, listen, I'm not going to be the one to say it's impossible and then somebody proves me wrong. It would be very hard to test that though. That's the best part of the microband industry. Most people, okay, I read that. There seems to be a cutoff between brands, name, really designer. Say that again. Read that again. There does seem to be a big cutoff between brands that just put their name on a watch and those who really design them. And guess what, Ken Newton? That is the golden nugget, right? That's the name of the game. And there's a lot of gray area when it comes to that. It's not just cut and dry. As much as I love Erebus, they're not redesigning the game with their designs. I don't think that that's their niche. They have beautiful designs. I like the way that they're composed. What I'm saying is they're not giving up, and it's very difficult also, not for nothing. It's very difficult for you to have the bag to come in and redesign everything to where it's a complete one for one, where it's not a homage anywhere near the watch. And then also, it costs a lot of money, and then also, is it going to be accepted? If you take the Vario Futurist, for an example, super unique looking watch. Not saying that he invented the crystal that he put on there or the crown being at the 12 and all these things, but the fact that he put it all together was very different from what we receive in the market. But also, this is year what that he's doing that in, right? So you kind of need the cash flow before you can go ahead and come in with a design that's not off the shelf, that is complete unique parts that you made from scratch. And also, it's the fear, right? Like, doing something that is very piece unique can be very quickly rejected. That's all I'm saying. And I'm thinking of Zheng Heng. And I don't mean to throw any shade on Zheng Heng. They're the sister brand of San Martin. I think that they make phenomenal watches. I would love a relationship with them so we could get some on the channel. I've been watching them from afar. I've reviewed one of their watches, the War Drum. The War Drum was the first watch that they came with that was an onion-shaped watch, right? Completely different from what I at least seen. I don't really think of anything off the top of my brain that I'm going to say that's a homage to. Yet I saw the even split divide where it's like, oh, hell no, or that's cool, that's unique enough, that's a funky chicken, if you will, I'll give that a try. And so when you're entering into the market, your game is selling as many watches as you can, not only for the revenue to be able to do more later, but the greatest advertisement that you could have is people wearing your watch. Forget about content reviewers, forget about any ad you do on Instagram. People wearing your watch and doing wrist shots on Watch Crunch or any forms is going to be the greatest form of getting the name out there. So that's just my whole thought process when it comes to all that. Thelonious Monk is in the building. It's been a while since I've seen you. Happy New Year, bro. DIY Watch Club seems to be interested in an idea to customize your own watch. Yeah, DIY Watch Club, Namoki. There's a couple out there like that. I love the build it yourself watches. When you talk about enabler, that's the one time that I'll push the agenda, and it's for a good reason. There's just not quite the insight that you can receive unless you've tried to build a watch yourself. I think it just gives you perspective that buying a watch will never give you. And so there's also that fun aspect of putting together whatever you want. And I always recommend start off with an NH35 because there's plentiful amount of aftermarket aftermarket parts out there for you to go back into the watch and switch it up. And I've done that several times and everything else. So definitely up for that. DIY Watch Club, they have super clean stuff too. I actually built a Miyota 9075 not too long ago from them, and I've been paying attention to their Instagram. They're coming out with some new stuff as well. I'm in love also with Namoki. I actually built my Alpinist, my SARB 017. 017? Yeah. So let's, real quickly, Seiko has come out with a new Alpinist. It's the 500 series. I think it's 507, if I'm not mistaken. But the SARB 017 was the original, was the OG. I love the black date wheel on it. I love the originality. I was not paying $1,000. They then moved on to the SPB 121, which had a white date wheel. Are you a nerd? Yes. I didn't want that watch because of that. Cyclops I could remove. I don't want a white date wheel aperture. I just don't. And after seeing that from the original one, that was just my stick. Now they've re-released it. They've made the actual indices or the minute markers gold tone, or actually that rotating chapter ring is gold as well to match the gold tones of the indices and everything else. That plus also having a black date wheel now reintroduced and having the Cyclops on it. That's a contender. I may wait a while for it to go on sale and everything else, but I may get that. But for now, I've built the Alpinist, which Namoki calls the Alpine, to the specification or the exact one-for-one look of the Alpinist SARB 017. That's where we're at. What are we talking about here? I think lug to lug. Lug to lug matters with large diameter watch. I think lug to lug matters regardless. It depends on what you're trying to achieve. I mean, for larger watches, of course, it matters the most. But I'll tell you what, man, like having watches that were smaller and having a smaller lug to lug, I've liked considerably a lot more so. But you are seeing that with larger diameter watches. Seiko Tuna is a perfect example. I'll throw in the ring also the Arnie. To be large. Yeah. And Seiko does it the best. That's why I have the Seiko Arnie, and that's why I have the King Seiko Turtle. Big wide watch, but still compact and super awesome. 200 meters, sapphire crystal, all the other things that people would want out of it. The only thing that I changed was the actual hour hand to cathedral, because I have a weakness for cathedral hands. I have yet to show you the last two watches because you guys are going ham on chat. Let's stop there on chat. Retype it in if you want me to address something specifically, but I did want to show you guys the last two watches. Now, we had Barry Cohen on the channel, his Protek. He talked about one of his newer watches, which was the Aggressor. We do have that in hand. This is not the strap that comes with it. I've been playing around a lot with different straps with it. I absolutely adore this color strap with it, this FKM. It does have push deployment clasp on it as well, but the point is that the original straps that come with it is either a black or a blue tone that matches the dial perfectly. You guys will see all of that good stuff when I eventually get around to doing a deep dive review of it. But I've been fully impressed with this. You guys know the deep conversations that I had with Barry Cohen, so I don't want to beat a dead horse. I will say this: when you're looking for something to add to your collection that's different for a standout, when you talk about a diver with carbon composite actual casing and bezel with the actual turn having a nice click, it's far from the mic, don't worry, we'll get it closer. Tritium tubes, T100 is the way to go, by the way. I did like the 25s. They were cool. They're recessed into the chapter ring versus these T100 tubes. These shine super bright, and it is tritium gas. It is safe, you know, to use. We've gone through that in detail and everything else, so you don't have to worry about that. But super tactical, rubber on the actual crown itself, so very easy. This is 300 meters of water resistance on this Aggressor. He did make it more aggressive with the thickness. So when we're talking about big boys in the collection, just to give you perspective, let me take it off the wrist so you guys can see. This is the Erebus, and here is the Protek watch. So big boys, right? I want to show love to you guys who like bigger size watches. Tactical, you guys know the history behind Protek. We've had in-depth conversations twice. Absolutely love it. And look, when you get to owning a few watches, you want to try and get something that's a little bit different offered into your collection. I think that he does the carbon composite cases very, very well. There's a lot of details. He went through all of it. I'm trying my best not to go through all of it again because I want you guys to watch that interview that I had with him recently. Also for the Marktime, if you guys haven't seen that as well. But tactical, man. Super, super tactical. Oh, and I should show you also the case back as well since I have it here. Very pronounced. 3D. It is 3D. You guys can see how much it's raised off of the case itself. It is a stainless steel. It is a screw-in. Again, we're getting 300 meters effectively of water resistance. There's multiple gaskets for that crown. He does test these watches. He doesn't batch test the watches. He individually tests the watches both in land and in air. Most people just do air or they just do one or the other. He does both. He does it for each and every one of his watches. He has phenomenal manufacturing and that he has on the back end of it. And this one in particular is quartz. They do have a mechanical version, but I think that the mechanical version is the T25 tubes. And that's the reason why I went with this. I needed the T100. I seen the difference for nocturnal settings and absolutely phenomenal. Don't have to worry about the lume going away over time unless we're talking about 25, 30, 40 years. But what I'm talking about is compared to conventional lume that loses its solar charge, whether it has 15 layers or not. Usually that lasts throughout the night, but this is going to be consistent and everything else. Feels good on wrist, feels good in hand. The clicks, one of the things that I was worried about was the clicks. When you talk about a carbon composite bezel and case, it's there. No back play, zero back play whatsoever. It may even have a negative back play. I don't know. It may turn itself. But no, man, he does a really bang up job. Again, with the wrist presence on wrist if you like the bigger boys. But now, much like I talked about having titanium for a bigger watch, you don't have to worry about it being so heavy on wrist, right? That's more of the lightweight, more of that titanium feel versus having something that's actually 316L stainless steel. You have the carbon composite on it as well. So super lightweight, different material. Fantastic. And you know what? The dial itself, let me see if I can zoom in on it. It has like that gridiron kind of like tough, I don't know how to explain that, like that metal impression to it. I thought that that was super clean as well. So you guys see the tritium tubes, the different colors here for the orientation of the watch. There is an actual tritium tube here for the lume pip as well. Clarity is there, legibility is there. You get tubes also for the hands. Those are the smaller 25s, I believe. I mean, I wish I could just, can I show you guys in the dark? Let's see. I don't know if this is dark enough, but you guys can kind of see what's going on here. That's fantastic. I absolutely love that. And you see the different colors that he's done with that. I do have a code for Protek. Check. Oh, I think it's code Sky. I think it's code Sky. So if you guys are interested in that, the website link is on there for Protek as well. Now that I have this aggressor on hand, and I've done a review of his other models as well. Was this that was the was it the 1300 series? Don't mark me on that. But this series is different, bigger, badder, meaner, aggressive, wrist presence. I love it. I love it. And it gives, yeah, tritium. And it gives that kind of on the wrist presence without having the weight. I just hate the tritium always lasts about, I just hate that tritium only lasts about 15 years. I'll cross that bridge when I get there, but I understand what you're saying. T100 tritium is awesome. I have a Night Quartz T100 watch from years back. How many years have you owned it? And have you seen any of that, I'm trying to say illumination, but it's really not illumination. What you're seeing is the interaction of the gases within the tube. Have you seen that gone down at all? 15 years is a long time. 15 years is a long time, bro. Like 15 years, I'm gonna have to worry about servicing some watches and stuff. Like, I ain't worried about that. I ain't worried about 15 years. That's a while. And also realize that it's not 15 years lights out. It's 15 years and you're starting to see the degradation of it. So it's still gonna glow to a certain degree. Still glows in UV, doesn't stay. Oh, got you. It looks purposely built tough. Yeah, yep. Absolutely, super basic unless you are setting crystals and bezels. Hand setting tools, tweezers. Okay, you're talking about actually, okay. Yeah, it's really not bad building your own watch, man. It looks a lot harder than what it is. And a lot of these brands now, DIY Watch Club, Namoki, they give you the step-by-step. I made some videos on how to do these things. JP, if you look at his first channel, Dad Mods Watches, he built 3,000 watches on there. So all you got to do is watch them and be patient, and you're fine. I have a ball engineered too. I got for half the price, probably due to the age of the tritium. Still works, but faded. Got you. And look, I thought about this too. And like, you can't also hold that tritium gas tube like hostage to that lume being weaker over time. Does not lume paint lose its glow over time as well? Like it does. Like nothing lasts forever. There's no lume that's inevitably going to be there forever, except if you talk about like LumiBrite with Timex, where if the battery's good, you hit it and it's good. But even then, maybe the LED light needs to be replaced eventually. So nothing lasts forever, dude. I don't buy watches and think about, well, what am I going to do in 20 years from now? It's like, dude, we'll see what happens. And I'm going to enjoy it for 20 years. The watch paid for itself at that point, I think. Protek, and realize this, guys, we're talking about Protek, we're talking about, he's the father of tritium tubes, right? If you're going to trust somebody to make good quality tritium tubes, why not trust the guy who didn't invent the wheel, but did introduce it into the tech for watches, right? They were used on other things, for sure. He doesn't own the factory, but he's been integrating that into the watches for that technology for longer than I've been alive. So you guys may like whomever you may like for getting that tritium into your collection, and that's okay, that's fine. Listen, if you like another company, you like another company. I so happen to like the father of tritium, Protek, Barry Cohen, and he's really particular about his quality. I'll say that. Like, he's really, really about that life when it comes to quality. That's all he cares about. So the fact that he doesn't batch test, the fact that he tests each one, you know, is phenomenal. Yeah, but not the core of the watch. Wow. Protek Tritium Field Series 3100 looks amazing, to be honest. Wait, what did you say? Protek's Titanium Field Series 3100, which I also like too, right? Because when we talk about big, robust watches, I just mentioned how titanium would be a nice option to keep the weight. So he does that as well. And yes, that's where, I believe that's where he used the T100 tubes to begin with. So for me to see this on the dive version, on the carbon composite case, I was really excited about that. That doesn't look like an airsoft cosplay prop. Got you. That's one way to say it. How dare you? How dare you? Lume has grown on me. Maybe a trick, but a cool one. Yes. So the last watch that I want to show you guys, and then we're going to close things out. So let me know if you have any questions about the watches that we showcased here today. And this was nice. I haven't done a live in a while, so it's nice to chat with you guys, catch up, see what you guys are up to. A couple of these watches I haven't done reviews for, so you're going to see reviews. For 26, I'm going to back off asking for watches to come into the channel because I want to focus on the watches that I have on it. And what I'm salivating about doing that is that I've owned these watches for months, if not years. So it really is going to be a nice change of pace for me to review a watch that I've owned for a very long time and gotten to know a little bit better. And I'll tell you what, there is something to say about handling a watch for a long period of time rather than, and I try to do that even when I review a watch. I may wear it for 2 weeks, 3 weeks straight, but years and trials, tribulations, straps, what you added, what your knowledge is at X amount of point A to point B when you're actually saying something about it makes a big difference. That being said, I want to show you guys the last watch. When you have a live streaming from the long, wait, say it again. When you live streaming from the Longines Soho Boutique. First and foremost, Monk, Tide Soho. First and foremost, you have to get me into that scenario, bro. Apparently, I called them up and they said, I'm sorry, sir, we don't allow you unless you know the Monk. And I said, okay, I'll talk to him. Maybe if he actually shows up on one of my live streams, I'll be able to do so. But yeah, man, that sounds like a good time. I know you went there and you had a good time. So that would be dope for me to do that. I'm open to do a stream whenever, wherever, man. If you want to see that, I can make it happen. The issues I have with the big watches is that they look really rugged, and you have a dainty little movements. Okay, okay. I mean, all right. That's a whole nother hour. Cause like, look, if we say that this has an NH35, most people say that the NH35 is big, bulky. That's why you have to build such a big case around it. We just talked about how that's debatable. But I don't think that there's an argument to be made that that's not a robust movement and that can't handle whatever you're going to put that watch through it. Likewise, if you're aiming your targets towards the Protek and that's bigger size and has a Miyota movement in, it's a Miyota quartz movement. And even if it wasn't, it was a mechanical Miyota movement. I don't know, man. I think that they get beat up, dude, and they last. So big and robust, like how? Like just physically, you want a big old pocket watch size movement in that watch? You know what I mean? I think that if they do the job that they're tasked out to do, they're robust enough to handle the workload, and they're gonna last a long time. I think they're all right, you know? And we have NH35, we got Miyota movement, we have some precision here with Bulova, we have some Miyota quartz as well. I mean, we got just about everything under the sun, and I think that these movements are really, really good. They're really, really good. They do what they need to do. I'm just saying, might veto that. I might veto that, but veto what? Can you do a live stream from, man, Fred, I'm a married man. What are you doing over here? This is the same with vehicles, to be honest. Have you seen the V6 they're putting into full-size trucks these days? Yeah, it's like everything else. Exactly. Exactly. I think so too. But listen, if you feel the way you feel, I understand. When you live streaming from... Oh, okay, I read that. All right, so the last watch that I want to show you guys, then we're going to peel out for sure. This is an exclusive. I don't think anybody's done a review for this yet. They did send me this watch out early, because they knew that the holiday season was here. I kind of was waiting for them to announce it. I mean, I guess I could have announced it regardless. But this is another micro brand that, you know, just makes phenomenal quality watches. They're in the affordable price range, right? Not cheap. But we have another Phoibos, the Leviathan. And this is a series dive watch that they did. Now, what makes this a little different than what we've seen from this series from them particularly is that they have forged carbon, not only in the dial, right? And we've seen some forged carbon with the Casio automatic, but we also are now seeing it on the bezel insert itself. And I think that we're going to be seeing more of this kind of style altogether, especially in the dial itself. But this is going to be the next Leviathan. I have not done a review yet. I think I only wrote the script so far, but this is also in the category of being a bigger boy. We do have pretty much a 90-degree drop off. It's a male end link, but it's not coming out too much. And then we have a 90-degree drop off. Of course, with Phoibos, we're going to get quick release. We're going to get a nice case back that's going to be oil pressed engraved, milled clasp on the fly, all the bells and whistles. This is a push push adjustment here. Push deployment, milled clasp, signed. I hope these are not scratches. I didn't even do the B-roll for this yet. No, it's just smudges. Signed on the clasp itself. This is going to be the Leviathan. Big, bold indices, big, bold hands. This is the diver style that they're doing. What I liked about this watch, though, not for nothing, the most is the angles on the case itself. It's big and robust, but I do like the angles. And I'll tell you something. One thing that I've been realizing as well when it comes to attachments and when it comes to lug, I love this. This straight lug to lug makes for a strap change god, because when you put a strap between here, it's nice and flush and it comes straight down and it fits so much better than having any kind of shape. So they have that same format for the actual clasp, the end link itself. And I love that. Again, we're going to have the quick release, of course. Phoibos gives you all the bells and whistles. This is a 200 meter water resistance, painted or applied logo. This is a painted logo, applied indices, Bold hands for legibility, of course. Date wheel aperture here at the 3. I prefer at the 6. It is what it is. White date wheel aperture. You guys know how I feel about that. They should have definitely went black or blue. Missed opportunity already. I can give you guys that. But everything else is up to par. The crown is slightly recessed in between the lugs itself. Good grip. Smooth tube interaction. So not too many reviews that you're going to see of this just yet. They just sent these out to their reviewers. Have a phenomenal relationship with Phoibos. I do like them. I do think that positionally in the market, they're just one of those brands that if you are new to watch collecting, especially, not exclusively, but if you're new to watch collecting, especially, again, just a spec monster, you know, if you will. That's going to be too difficult for me to reattach right now because I have too many things happening mechanically, but make phenomenal watches. Whether you talk about their GMTs, whether you talk about the narwhal, I really love that 1970 kind of flow, but I do like this as well. Now they're introducing something different for the materials to the dial and the bezel insert itself. It's snazzy, man. It's cool. It's a cool little look to it for sure, I think. And when we're talking about seeing different materials in the actual dials and stuff like that, I thought it was a cool move to put it in the bezel insert as well. All of the legibility is there. I think it's an actual snazzy type of watch, and I can't wait to do the full review. I think that the grip could be better here on the bezel. Not to say that you can't twist the bezel at all, like not to say that it's hard. I'm just being hard on the watch because Phoibos is one of those brands that, not that I pull punches, but when it comes to a brand that gives so much great specification, you have to put it even more so under a microscope and find. Because look, the whole point of reviewing a watch is, yes, you guys get to see the review and make an educated decision. Hopefully I give you enough and hopefully I give you everything. But ultimately, I want the brands to take the feedback and get better for the next iteration. Phoibos is notorious for going back into their archives. We've seen them do reiterations. That's kind of like their style. They make their new batch. It's nice and fresh. It's nice and hip to what they want to do now. And then they circle back and they go through it. They have about 8 or 9 SKUs, maybe 4 to 5 models per. And so they kind of go down their list and improve on the watch and or try to give it something more dated where it'll be more rare materials into the dial itself, or hopefully a smaller dimension, whatever it is. The point is this: you have to be very specific because I want the brands to go back and make, even if it's a small change, it's still an improvement. Meteorite is an awesome dial. It is an awesome dial. I have that on my Zelos, and that was my first experience with it. Now we see Meteorite on plenty of watches. I think the most interesting Meteorite, though, I would have to say, and I don't know if anybody else is doing the same thing, but with the Formex, how they dye the Meteorite and everything else, super cool look. Whether you're talking about is it rose gold, or I think it's like gold and blue they do, and it looks really, really cool. But I'm cool with the gray as well. But we're seeing a lot of brands do that. That's fire, man. I would have to check it out. Oh, what is he saying? Guys, we're going to close out. We're well over the time. Sheesh. I don't know, most watches, bezel rings. Wait, say that again? I can't. You know what it is? I could barely see the chat. Let me see something. Out of most of that watches that have the bezel rings, for me, I just have one location. Turn, even, throw. I don't use it. Yeah. I hardly ever use it. I use the bezels more as like a fidget spinner. My new field watch will be sub 10 millimeters. That's nice. And that makes sense because I believe what you said, it's going to Sellita. So most people, when they go Sellita, they take advantage of a thinner movement and a thinner construction around it. So JP, I definitely want to take a look at that. Send me the plans and everything else, the pictures and stuff like that. Close to the same size, but very close to the same size as NH. Got it. Nice look, low poly type style case look. Yeah, I like that case. Looks sharp. The case looks sharp, like the angles on it. Yeah. My brother loved this one too. That might be in his collection when I'm done with the review. But I really like that sharp angles and everything else. Still on the thickum side. This is a NH35, I believe. Yeah, this is an NH35 in here. So still have the thickness on there as well. Carbon fiber is a nice addition. It is, and it's a nice way to revamp. Like that's what they do. They revamp their lines. Appropriate case sizes. Yeah, yeah. Listen, Julius, JP has his finger on the pulse. He already knows what he's doing as far as how he wants to move forward and progress as a brand. So I foresee him doing a lot of crazy good things to the cases, to the movements, to everything, really. And I'm excited to see the designs that come forth as well. NH35 is a thicker movements and smaller. And okay, Julius, so exactly, dude. You know what's so funny? I was just looking at the actual specifications to the dimensions to an NH35 movement. I don't understand how, if physically that movement is so thin, what happens to those cases? Or is it just, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question. Or is it nothing to do with the NH movement itself and everything to do with what's available on the shelf being thicker to have more of a range of what it can be utilized for? Example, a chronograph, mechanical movement, or a, man, I'm just drawing a blank. A chronograph, a GMT, right? Like, is it just that they're going with the thicker cases because that's what's more available and what's more affordable because of that? And so that could be introduced in the market for different movements. I don't know. I was actually thinking about that. My NH34 GMT is only about 12 millimeters. There you go. It's just bad case architecture. That's crazy. That's crazy, because that's an easy fix. And if that's the case, Julius, then that really is upsetting, because that's almost like not adding quick release or on the fly at this point. It's like, dude, we have the technology. Many people are utilizing it. So there has to be a way for you to do that. The only people that I would let off the hook for that is like a big brand, because they have more of an overhead. So it may seem like a very minute cost on our end, but they have big bills to pay. And so if it's a difference of $30, $40, $60 on a watch that they could put in their pocket times however many watches that they sell, they have to put it towards their overhead. But for a smaller micro brand, if you don't have quick release and on the fly, then I don't know. I'm a little unimpressed. I will say. I will say that at this point, and I'm 5 years in, so I don't think that I felt that way in the beginning, but I feel that way now. There are counterfeits. There are counterfeit NH35s that there are a way to know. Is there a way to know that they're legitimate? No, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know. And I think that there, I don't know if you mean counterfeits or if you mean that there's different grades. I think that the only difference is it's either coming directly out of Seiko or it's been commissioned by a third party to make it, which I don't think it means that it's necessary. It's kind of like the Seagull movement, which I don't think it means that it's a fake rather than just not directly. And some people feel like when you get it directly, it's going to be a higher grade or better quality or more trusted, at least. Check out the Phoibos Argo, has had a sharp angle as well. I will check that out, Nick. Thank you. And I have to check that out. Meteorite is on. I read all that, right? All right, guys. So we are going to close out here. I do appreciate everybody for hanging in and chatting with us on this live and catching up. If you're watching this on the playback, I'm still also interested in what your plans are for 2026. How are you going to move forward for your collection? What has changed in your philosophy of collecting from 25 moving into 26? Has anything changed for you? For me, I have already announced from the beginning of this live that I'm going to be more reserved and more looking for bigger watches, more grill watches, more things that will float my boat. And that would mean that does it have to be all the bells and whistles like the watches that I mentioned? No. It could be also movements that I just haven't procured just yet. But it's definitely going to mean slowing down and picking off more of watches that have that much interest in it at this point, right? I've already seen a lot of Miyotas, Le Jouperes, SW200s, Salitas, that is. and all the other ones that are utilized more commonly. Am I going to reject the watch because it has any of those movements? Absolutely not. If I'm captivated by a watch, I'm captivated by it, and all those movements are legitimate. They're all going to last. If anybody tells you they're crap, there's different grades. There's different grades within the same movement and everything else. But at the end of the day, man, just enjoy what you want to enjoy. Enjoy what's on your wrist and enjoy what you buy and what you wear. With that being said, I do appreciate all of you for joining me here. And no, Skylar, they are making a straight up fake NH35 now. That is terrible. I'll check out the Caliber Corner. It seems like a reputable source. Yeah, Caliber, I do like the Caliber Corner for some information as well. Okay, so I didn't know that they were making straight up fakes. That's terrible. Some brands. And that happened because of the increase in prices for the NH35, I would imagine. And when you compound that with the Casio, another big brand entity utilizing that movement, and then probably gobbling up a lot of them. And we'll know that even more so if the Casio Edifice Auto continues with an NH35 movement. You can imagine how many movements they're gobbling themselves. Plus we have the micro brands and independent brands utilizing that movement as well. So now enter in the space of fakes and, you know, trying to offer you the same old price or even cheaper and everything else. So now we got to be careful of that. But that's for a conversation later on. I'll do some homework to see if there are any differences. I'll even make a video if there are any physical differences that we can tell from that. And that being said, I appreciate everybody who joined me here on the live stream for spending your most valuable asset, which is time. And I'll hopefully see you guys in the next one. Later, guys. Peace.